L&T is inching up closer to acquiring controlling stake in Mindtree. This in turn has prompted the mid-cap IT company to put its share buyback plan on hold. In keeping with regulations, the board has now decided to set up a committee of independent directors to look at L&T's offer. I spoke to Rostow Ravanan, the CEO of Mindtree, to get his take on the entire issue. Listen in.
I think the board considered multiple options. The board had called this meeting to evaluate a buyback because we thought it's good from a shareholder perspective. It's also in line with good practices from the rest of our industry. Like you know, many of our other peer companies have initiated a similar exercise at the moment. So we initiated this exercise keeping all of those perspectives in mind. However, some factors have changed, including the open offer that was announced by L&T last Monday. Keeping some of these changed circumstances in mind, and after receiving advice from experts, the board has decided to call off the buyback plans at the moment.
So the board, Mindtree is in the process of constituting a panel now in regard to addressing L&T's unsolicited offer. So can you tell us a little more about what this panel will do in terms of objectives? What are the main areas that this panel is expected to address?
Under the law, there is a very specific obligation that is levied on the independent directors to form a committee amongst themselves and make a recommendation to shareholders on the offer price that L&T has given in its open offer. So that's the sole objective of this committee, to evaluate all the dimensions of the open offer announced by L&T and make a recommendation to shareholders whether they should accept or not accept this offer. That's the sole purpose of this committee.
All right, sir. So in case the committee finds that there are various factors that may be playing out in favor of L&T coming and taking over, sir, how do you think the board is expected to move going forward then, in that case?
The board always deliberates these issues very, very thoughtfully and takes a decision that is considered and keeping in mind the interests of all stakeholders. So therefore, at the time when that decision needs to be taken, it will be taken keeping in mind the interests of all stakeholders. It will be both inappropriate and unfair to make any predictions of how that decision will go. But every single thing our board and the entire leadership team have done from inception of Mindtree has always been keeping all stakeholders in mind.
All right, fair enough, sir. So how do you read the 980 rupees per share that L&T has put forward when it comes to perhaps the open offer as well as what it intends to do in the open market? In your opinion, do you think this is a fair value?
Wouldn't like to comment on it because that's the matter that our independent directors are evaluating it. Until the time they come up with their recommendation, it would again not be fair for me to comment on this there. I have an opinion as an individual, as a shareholder, but it will be inappropriate for me to express that at this stage.
Okay, no problem, Mr. Ravanan. Also, if you could tell me about where your large, shareholders stand. I mean, by that I mean institutions. So, what is their thought process? What do they intend to do at this point in time? From what I understand, to a certain extent, at least some of them have voiced. They have suggested that they would favor Mindtree in this case. But do you think that there are any circumstances out there that may lead them to change their mind? If you could just give me an idea about the larger picture when it comes to your conversations with the larger shareholders.
I think our large shareholders are completely aligned with Mindtree's interest. They are very vocally supporting us because this team, through the strategy and the culture of the company, have delivered exceptional results. To quote one of the shareholders who came out and made a comment to media yesterday. So I think our investors have recognized that the team at Mindtree has created long-term value. They are also very sharp observers of performance. For example, Mindtree has done really well over the last few years and so on and so forth. So I think we are confident that we have the support of our large shareholders in this very interesting times for Mindtree.
All right, sir. Mr. Ravanan, then in that case, of course, culture and compatibility is very important. Going forward, if you could tell us what are the cultural differences that may stand, in your opinion, with how you're perceiving things as it is between Mindtree and the culture that Larsen and Toubro may bring? What are the concerns here?
I think the concerns are primarily around the fact that Mindtree has a unique culture. It is that culture, along with the vision of the leadership team, has combined together to deliver the results that we have delivered. So our whole argument is, if a certain ecosystem is performing at an optimal level, then don't try and change it. So that's our perspective. There's nothing that we think of or have any comments on other companies' cultures. Everybody is successful in their own way based on their own hypothesis and their own management philosophies, etc. So our whole point is the strategy and culture at Mindtree has delivered great results. So therefore, that should be left undisturbed.
All right, so as far as a final question, as far as the L&T open offer is concerned, I believe it's somewhere around the 2nd or the 3rd week of May. What timelines are you working with respect to the various issues that you guys have placed in store right now, and the way forward perhaps for the founders as well as the panel?
The panel, like I said, the Independent Directors Committee has a very specific objective placed upon them by law to study all the issues and make a considered recommendation to shareholders with respect to the price that the open offer carries from L&T. That's the only objective of that committee. The board as a whole has a lot of other responsibilities in terms of both running the business in a very stakeholder-friendly manner, but also managing the future of Mindtree with minimal risk and with high-performing kind of an orientation. So that's the only thing that we are working on.
All right, Mr. Ravanan, we leave it at that. Thank you so much for talking to us here on Bloomberg Quint, and we wish you the very best for the future. Thank you.